Now the next thing we're going to look at is how to actually read a graph. This is kind of important because you will be reading a lot of graphs in this unit. So that we're going to start by looking at slope. Now, when we had our formula, y equals a times x plus b, a is our slope. However, some of your situations won't come out this nicely, where you have a so very clearly identified in the problem. So we're going to look at some situations that might not be evident, and we'll also be looking at some situations where you look at a graph and have to generate an equation. So slope is a measure of the direction of the line. A positive slope is a slope that generally moves up. A negative slope is a slope that moves down, and a slope of 0 means that there is no change. The slope formula we'll be using is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So whenever you have 2 points on a line, you have a point xy and another point xy. You're looking for the amount of change between those 2 points. So once again, another way of phrasing slope is the rate of change, and you're measuring the rate of change between the dependent and the independent variable. So let's take a look at this. Here we have a graph. You can very clearly see this is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the initial value of where it starts. So this point right here is the point 0, 5,000. Great, we're going to look at another point on the graph. Okay, so here we have another point. This point is 10,000, comma, 5,300. So we have 2 different points. The way that it works is our x coordinates, or here, x1, x2, and our y coordinates are here, y1 and y2. It's very important that you focus on these 2 coordinates so that you don't mix them up. So when we do the formula, we're doing y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So let's start with y2. y2, we have 5,300. And we're going to subtract y1, which is 5,000. All of this is divided by x2, which is 10,000, minus x1, which is 0. So you see where we got the different points. You have y2, x2, y1, x1 very clearly listed on the graph. So we're going to get into our calculator, and we're actually going to put it in just like it says. Fraction 5,300 minus 5,000 over 10,000 minus 0. And so we get a slope of 3 over 100. We also know that this slope is 3%. So we're going to go ahead and actually write the equation for this line. We have the slope, we have the y-intercept. So the equation is y equals, and we're going to go ahead and write 3 over 100 this time, just so that you can get used to seeing it different ways, multiplied by x plus our initial value of 5,000. So you can see how we can take a graph and eventually create an equation.